Mars ripples, giant waves of sand are moving across the surface of Mars. This is a new discovery. Researchers spotted large waves of Martian sand. It's migrating for the first time. This is the first time they've spotted it, that is. The discovery dispels long-held belief that these mega ripples have not moved since they formed hundreds of thousands of years ago. There are also evidence of stronger than expected winds on the red planet. It's staggering that humans can detect these changes on Mars, says Ralph Lawrence. He's a planetary scientist at Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Lab who was not involved in the research. He says, we can now measure processes on the surface of another planet that are just a couple times faster than our hair grows. Mega ripples are found in deserts on Earth, as we know, often between the sand dunes. Waves in the sand spaced up to tens of meters apart, tens of yards apart. There are a large version of ripples that undulate every 10 centimeters or so on many sand dunes. But unlike dunes, these mega ripples are made up of two sizes of sand grains. Coarser, heavier grains cap the crests of the mega ripples, making it harder for the wind to move these features around. This is what Simon Silvestro, planetary scientist at Italy's National Institute of Astrophysics in Naples, says. Since the early 2000s, Mars rovers and orbiters have repeatedly spotted mega ripples on Mars, but they didn't seem to change in any measurable way, which led some scientists to think they were relics from the past events on Mars, when its thicker atmosphere permitted stronger winds. Now, using images captured by NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, Silvestro and his colleagues show that some mega ripples do creep along, but just very slowly. The researchers focused on two sites near the equator of Mars. They analyzed about 1,100 mega ripples in McLaughlin Crater and 300 in the Nili-Fosse region. They looked for signs of movement by comparing time-lapse images of each site, taken 7.6 and 9.4 years apart. Mega ripples in both regions advanced by about 10 centimeters every year, the team says, and that's about how fast mega ripples move in the Lut Desert of Iran as well. It's a surprise that mega ripples move at all on Mars. This is what Jim Zibelman, planetary geologist at Smithsonian Institute Aerospace Museum, said. Just a few decades ago, there was no evidence that sands on Mars were mobile, he said. None of us thought that the winds were strong enough. Well, obviously they are. Now, winds on Mars might be accelerating small grains of sand, Silvestro and his colleagues said. Once these grains start to roll or bounce, they can act like battering rams, knocking into larger grains and setting them in motion. This process, known as impact-driven creep, has been observed here on Earth. Sand dunes on Mars likely donated their grains to the mega ripples migration because nearby dunes moved in the same direction as the mega ripples. This is what the team suggests. This is what they believe happens. Atmospheric models of Mars suggest winds capable of moving sand are rare. This discovery of migrating mega ripples will force those models to be, of course, changed. Silvestro plans to expand his search for migrating mega ripples to the whole planet. He suspects the speediest mega ripples will be near Mars' fastest moving dunes. These mega ripples on the move are beacons of windy conditions on the planet, which might in turn kickstart dust storms, the researcher said. Now, airborne dust can blanket solar panels, reducing their efficiency, and it can also gum up mechanical parts like gears, just like it does on Earth. That's bad news for Mars rovers and human habitats alike. This is from Space Magazine, and it's the latest on the type of geology and wind formation and the mega ripples, giant waves of sand on Mars. This by Catherine Corney. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.